Hi, so today we're going to be talking about the bracha of VeLamalshinim, which is the 12th bracha of the Shemona Esrei. So our first slide says, when was the bracha composed? So this bracha actually was added to the original 18 brachot of the Shemona Esrei in the time of Rabban Gamliel of Yavne. If you actually count brachot in the Shemona Esrei, you see that there's 19 brachot. This was the one that was added to the original 18, and it was done in the time of Rabban Gamliel of Yavne, during the time of the Mishnah, during the time of the Tanaim. Why was it composed? Why was there a need to add an additional bracha for? So the answer is, the history of this bracha is that it was in response to early Christians who broke away from Judaism, and through slander, they incited non-Jewish authorities to go against the Jews. So actually, there were Jewish people themselves that we're going to see, like self-hating Jews, that incited the non-Jews, the non-Jewish government, to go against the Jewish people. And essentially, the text of the bracha, VeLamalshinim VeLaminim, deals exactly with those people when we ask to remove that evil from them. Where was it written? Well, it was written in a city called Yavne. Yavne was known to be the city that housed the Sanhedrin. It was a very holy city after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. The truth is, if you look at the word Yavne, Yavne is the Rashi Tevot, is the acronym for the following four words: Yain, Besamim, Ner, and Havdalah, which actually happens to be the order of Havdalah that we do every Motzei Shabbat, right? We say Borei Peri HaGefen, that's Yain. Besamim is Borei Vinei Besamim. Ner is Borei Meorei HaEsh. And Havdalah, that is Hamavdil Ben Kosh Lechol. So how is that connected here? The answer is that this symbolizes that we must separate from these type of heretics, these type of individuals, and have nothing to do with them, just like we separate after Shabbat. We do Havdalah, which separates the Shabbat from the rest of the week. So it's not a coincidence that this was written in Yavne, where we want to separate from these individuals. Who was the person who actually composed the bracha? The bracha was composed by a person whose name was Shmuel HaKatan, Shmuel the Small. He was not small by any means. He was a huge Talmid Chacham. It's referring to another Shmuel that was who lived beforehand. They wanted to differentiate between him and the other Shmuel, so they called him Shmuel HaKatan. The question remains, as I write here on the slide, is how are we allowed to even request to eradicate the evil people who hate us and want to harm us? Right? We're talking about Jews over here. So how, is it possible? Are we even able to pray and ask, as the Mevakesh, to ask in Shemona Esrei to remove and eradicate Jews? Is that even possible? So if this is the text of the bracha, then how is this? How are we allowed to do this? So the answer is that we can only do this when our intentions are totally pure. When a person has pure intentions and he's not doing it for any ulterior motive, then he's able to do this. And there's a few examples I give. The first one is example of when Pinchas, the grandson of Aaron HaKohen, he killed Zimri and Cosbi while they were performing an illicit act, a horrible sin. So he was zealous of, he was mekaneh. He showed his love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu and wanted to, avenge, the way they were, sinning, and showed kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And he went and he killed Zimri and Cosbi for no other reason. He didn't hate Zimri, he didn't hate Cosbi, but they did something against God. So therefore, he was allowed to kill them. And not only that, he received the covenant, the Brit Shalom, the covenant of peace. Another example is when a criminal deserves the death penalty, right, there cannot have any personal motives, right? If a person kills a person and he's deserving of a death penalty, I'm not subjecting him to the death penalty because I don't like the person. I'm subjecting him to the death penalty because that's what he requires, because that's the law for someone who kills a person, right? And one of the famous examples that I can give now is in recent history with Saddam Hussein and President Bush, the second President Bush, George W. Saddam Hussein was once at war with George W.'s father, the original President Bush, and in the Gulf War in '91. So there was always a little, they had a rivalry between the two. And when President Bush II, George W., took office, it was almost like his personal agenda to go after Saddam Hussein. And he claimed that Saddam Hussein in Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. And it turned out to be that he never had weapons of mass destruction. So, yet he went out and he went into Iraq and invaded Iraq, and thousands of U.S. soldiers were killed as a result. Yes, in the end, Saddam Hussein was toppled and killed, but look what happened as a result. There were no weapons of mass destruction. He went in. Why? Because he had a personal agenda against Saddam Hussein. That's not what we're supposed to do. If a person has a personal agenda, personal motives why he's going against somebody, then you can't do that. But when we have pure intentions, then we're able to happen. So this leads us back to Shmuel HaKatan. He was a person who wrote this blessing. He was a person that wrote that we need to eradicate these Jews. So why was he the one who was chosen? Well, Shmuel HaKatan was also known for writing something else. He said in Pirkei Avot, the famous line, "Do not rejoice at the fall of your enemy." How can it be? It seems to be contradictory. On one hand, he's telling us don't rejoice at the fall of your enemy. On the other hand, he's telling us to eradicate these heretics, these Jewish people who are causing the non-Jews to go against us. How can that be? The answer is because his intentions are pure. If he truly if this person is solely out there to cause harm to the Jews, then to his own people, then they need to be removed. But just to go out there, we have to be sad when our enemy falls. So don't rejoice at the fall of your enemy. So he's a person who's not rejoicing at this. He's not writing this bracha and feeling good. He's feeling bad that he has to do this. Just shows us that his intentions were pure. It's really something to think about. Maybe we should ponder it a little bit. Is it proper to pray that evil people be punished? So there's two examples actually in the Gemara about this. The Gemara Masechet Brachot that talks about Rabbi Yoshua, who was unsuccessful. He realized what he was doing was wrong. He was praying for the evil people to be punished, and he realized that what he was doing was wrong. Some say that if he deserves to be punished, there's nothing wrong to direct evil towards him, but nevertheless, we need to refrain from that, because what happens if we do something to those who are undeserving? There's another story of Rabbi Meir Balanes who wished to do the same, but Bruria, his wife, said that he should pray for them to do teshuvah rather than him praying for them to die or for them to be removed from this world. Pray for them to do teshuvah, and so he did, and they repented. The key is we're not asking to eradicate the evil doers, but we want to remove just the evil only. Just evil only. We want them to do teshuvah. So when we're asking VeLamalshinim, it's really we want to get them to get rid of the evil, not themselves as well. What's the exception? When their sole purpose of these people is to destroy Am Yisrael. We'll continue this topic in a second video.